Greetings, NFL fans. Today is Tuesday, December 9th. You have 15 shopping days left until Christmas. Make sure to buy us something nice. I am Kevin Kaduk, here with Frank Schwab and Jay Busbee. We are headed into Week 15 of the NFL season. I don't even want to talk about Week 14.
Well, I would say that we got 16 shopping days left till Christmas if you do the after midnight shopping, at the CVS.
You have 16 days until you're on social media cursing your UPS and FedEx driver who haven't had a day off since the beginning of November, but because of you're late.
I had to do that one time for the kids. The Amazon gifts did not arrive, and I had to go to this is the worst.
Amazon Santa.
This is Amazon Santa did not make. Actually,
Santa Bezos.
Amazon Santa forgot to click send on the gifts, so they were still sitting there in the shopping cart, and we realized that.
Are you serious?
Yeah, this is the worst. So I go out at about 11 o'clock at night. I go to the local CVS drugstore. It's a 24-hour drugstore.
This is not a true story.
Dude, this is an absolutely true story. And I'm going through, and I'm picking out stuff for them. I mean, we had most of their presents. It was just kind of filling it out. But I'm looking like the worst dad on earth, buying his kids CVS, gum and...
Chia.
Exactly. It's in the chia head. Oh, I'm sure that she'll love this. So, yes, it was not all of their presents, thankfully. It was just the ones to fill it out. But, yeah, CVS at 11 p.m. on Christmas Eve is a scary place.
It always is. You know what? The CVS, I always take Walgreens over a CVS, and the difference is the carpeting. The carpeting makes all the difference.
The tile floors kind of freak you out. The tile floors in the industrial.
No. The carpet freaks me out.
The carpet does.
Yes.
We're in a weird area here.
I'm avoiding the fact that in my survivor pool, which we discussed at length, and I said there was no way that the Niners were going to lose to the Raiders for any number of reasons. I probably came up with 30 reasons. And I just lost to the freaking Raiders.
All right, now let's go through this. Like, what are your? Did you go through all the stages of grief during this game? Like, okay, it starts off. The 49ers had an early lead, is that right? Or did the Raiders ambush them right away? I can't remember.
Kaepernick threw an early pick. The Raiders went up 3-0. I was like, all right, not a big...
Okay. Yeah, you're okay, 3-0. You're a little bit worried, but not freaking out yet. Okay. Then after that...
Worried. But I'll tell you, I was worried because a lot of people had the Vikings over the Jets, and when the Vikings pulled that out, a lot of people were still alive. I forgot what the other big... the Saints. A lot of people have the Saints. But I thought, man, if you're at, what's that line from Rounders? If you're sitting at the table and you haven't picked out the sucker in the first 5 minutes, you're the sucker. Right. So almost everyone was through to the next week, and I'm sitting there with the Niners and Raiders in those afternoon game. And I thought, oh man, this isn't good. But still, it is the Oakland Raiders against a 49ers team who, they've had their problems, but was still 7-4, is still a team that knows how to win, that has been to 3 straight NFC title games. And I should have looked at that and said, here's a 49ers team that clearly does not like Jim Harbaugh. That relationship is headed for divorce. And here's a Raiders team that this is more or less their bowl game. I don't know if NFL teams can have bowl games, but that was a bowl game. And they like Tony Sparano. He might be headed out of town once Jim Harbaugh gets lured there across the bay. But they like Tony Sparano. They gave him a Gatorade bath for moving to 2-11. Jay Busbee wrote a great obituary of the Gatorade bath, dead at 29.
Oh, my God.
They should go check it out. Raiders fans really enjoyed that piece.
Oh, my God. I am still getting lit up by Raider Nation.
Really?
Nice. Oh, are you kidding? Yeah. Nice. This was our bowl game. You don't know anything about the Battle of the Bay.
God. Oh, God. Well, you've been dealing with those people. I've been dealing with the Peyton Manning people who apparently have never read that I've called him the greatest quarterback of all time for years and years and years because I wrote on Sunday, his consecutive games without touchdown or with a touchdown streak ended. And I use that as a platform to kind of say what I've been seeing for the past few weeks, and that's Peyton Manning hasn't been the same guy. He's it's kind of the elephant in the room nobody wants to talk about. Peyton Manning is looking his age a little bit. He's not playing that well. He's not throwing it that well. And oh my goodness, the emails and tweets coming in, I have I have literally put Peyton Manning in his grave while his wife watched me pour the dirt on him, and how could I even live with myself that I could talk about such a great man that way? And it's like, well, you know what? Why don't you Google my name, Peyton Manning? There's a few love letters.
People just don't read things. Mike Oz wrote a pretty good piece on the Hall of Fame thing from the winter meetings. The Veterans Committee got together, and it's basically, he explained the whole thing. 16 people, ex-players, coaches, officials, whatever. And the first 10 comments are like, the media will never get it right, blah, blah, blah. It's like, this has nothing to do with the media. And Mike Oz just explained in 200 words why it has nothing to do with the media. I think there might be a couple of media members on there, but it's obviously not just the bad media. But back to Jay's thing, you just can't have fun with it. That was a fun piece. Gatorade bath is dead at 29 because who would ever give a coach of a 2-11 team a Gatorade bath, right?
I was dying.
6 years ago, I wrote a story. I wanted to ban the hip bump in baseball. It was a tongue-in-cheek piece, and I had 5 reasons why they should do it. And I think that was one of the most responses I ever got. It's like, have we just lost our ability to laugh in America?
Well, it's
pretty much.
It's sports because it's supposed to be serious. That's what I heard most people. You should be objective, and I'm thinking that's what the scoreboard is for. Anything else other than that is by definition subjective. But
man, it's
we
sports.
Don't need to go down that
Let's
route.
have some fun.
Exactly. That's what
I was not having fun though. And screw the 49ers. That ruined my entire month of December.
It's such a setback, or to lose in your Jay was talking this morning on email about how he lost your fantasy game by half point. Is that correct, Jay?
Yes, I lost to my father by a half point.
That's even worse.
Oh
you
my
gotta
God.
hear it from the old man.
Oh God, he's going to give me crap. And I had the Green Bay defense, so I had already come to terms with the fact that I needed Green Bay to do well in order to win this matchup. And then, as Atlanta keeps coming back, it keeps piling up yards. Oh, it was bad.
Let's talk about the football side of things, because people are probably sick of hearing us talk about fantasy and survivor pools. Even though I think it makes for good radio. I'm fired up about something, right?
I will say this. A lot of people this week. This was such a strange, weird week in fantasy, and just guys like Peyton Manning and Drew Brees just put up almost donuts. And if you had if somehow you made the playoffs with Cam Newton, he exploded for 50 points or something like that. And then Julio Jones won me a league last night by going off for 259 yards. It was just a weird week in fantasy. And I to those people who had the random guys who hadn't really done much all year.
The worst week in the playoffs. You're completely right about that.
It was weird. It was. I mean, somebody got totally screwed by Jordy Nelson last night, going off for 50 points or whatever. He's probably sitting there with a big lead, feeling good, but okay, I'm going against Jordy, but whatever. And then Jordy goes for does his Jordy thing.
Does his Jordy thing. That should be on a t-shirt.
Boy, he's good. He is a good football player, man. There are a lot of good receivers in football right now, and he's one of them. He's fun to watch. Him and Antonio Brown and Calvin are probably my top 3 right now. Just great.
And coming out of last night, I mean, do you see anybody that can match up with the Packers at all? The way that they played last night, I think
the Seahawks, because I think back to week 1, and I was having a Twitter conversation with somebody, and they're saying, well, week 1 doesn't matter anymore. And I kind of think it does in this case, because the cores of those teams are still the same. What they do is still the same. And I think Seattle matches up really, really well, because they are just death on a passing game. I mean, they could just stifle your passing game. Look at what they did to Philly. And I'm not saying Philly's Green Bay as far as throwing the ball, but man, Seattle's playing so well right now. They're the team that's kind of just done the 180. So I think if we somehow get, Broncos, Patriots in the early game and Packers, Seahawks in the late game, that's a pretty good NFL Championship Sunday of football.
And it's going to be interesting to see where that game ends up, because the Seahawks are, for as much as they've been maligned, they're a game behind the Packers and the Cardinals. They get the Cardinals in 2 weeks. I think the Packers have a little easier schedule the rest of the way, but it's not.
You got the Lions in week 17. It's not a gimme. I mean, they lost to the Lions once.
You've acted like it's a gimme for the last 5 or 6 weeks, Frank.
Let's not let the past get involved with my narrative today, okay? Come on. But if the Seahawks win out, and I think my math is right, I did real quick last night. If the Seahawks win out and the Packers and Cowboys each lose a game, and the Cowboys go to Philly this week, so if the Packers and Cowboys each lose a game and Seattle wins out, Seattle's number 1 seed, and we all know what Seattle does at home. We all know that Dallas went in there and won, and good for them, but that's not happening a whole lot. So the race for the 1 seed is enormous in the NFC.
So who gets left out?
I don't know. I thought it might have been the Cardinals, but then they came up with a really, really big win the other day. It's going to be somebody good. If whoever loses the Philly-Dallas game on Sunday's in some trouble, I'll tell you that. I mean, somebody's going to be. It's crazy that they're going to be 9-5 and worried about the playoffs, but they're probably going to. Obviously have to win at least one of the last two, maybe both of the last two to make the playoffs. We're hurtling towards a 10-16 getting left out when, we're guaranteed not to have a winning team in the NFC South. So it's going to be. I'm really excited for the last 3 weeks just because there's so much that needs to be sorted out still.
The Seahawks and Cardinals had to love looking at that Niners-Raiders game and thinking, all right, well, maybe the Niners are not going to be the challenge we thought they might be, because it looks like they've pretty much packed it in. That offense is not doing anything. We were actually talking about this, Frank. If we're going forward, I already know Frank's answer, so I'll ask Jake this question. You're going forward and you're building a franchise, and someone offers you Colin Kaepernick or Derek Carr. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I mean it's probably obvious at this point. You're going with Carr because Kaepernick just has seemed to hit the ceiling of his possibilities. Carr, we just don't know enough about him yet. But Kaepernick is. It looks like he's hit the point where he's doing nothing but throwing fastballs. He's not looking downfield. He's making mental mistakes that he should not be making at this level. It's comparable to the RG3 situation where
he just hasn't gotten any better.
Yeah, comes in strong and hasn't taken that next step upward that you would expect.
All right, so I'll spin this forward to Frank. Going forward, Colin Kaepernick or RG3?
Oh, Kaepernick for sure. I think RG3 is kind of on the scrap heap until further notice. I hate to say it because I really do like RG3. I've said nice things about him in the past. I think he's a dynamic player. But he is just so behind right now. He's just lost it. It's almost like he's got the yips a little bit, and he just needs to learn how to play quarterback, to be honest with you. There's just a lot to be done there. So, yeah, give me Kaepernick, although Kaepernick is no great shakes right now.
Well, so when I asked you the Carr or Kaepernick question, you actually said you still have to go with Kaepernick with his age and his skill set. Do you think we're being unfair to him at all?
Well, no, because it's his third year, and he's had a lot of starts under his belt now, and he looks the exact same as he did those first few starts, really. Like, I bet if you turned on the tape of his first few starts and looked at him in his last few starts, they probably look about the same. He doesn't look any more polished. He doesn't look any more confident in running a normal offense. He can still make those Colin Kaepernick plays. Look, I was at Lambeau last year for that playoff game, and he just does things that nobody else can do, and that's awesome, and that's great. But it's the play-by-play things that he doesn't do, just missing guys on 5-yard outs on 3rd and 4, that kind of stuff that you need to have happen in an NFL game that he's just not any better at right now than he was his first few starts in the league.
The only thing I hate about that is that it reinforces that tired old narrative that a quarterback has to be a drop back pocket passer, that anybody who starts running out of the pocket, starts trying anything creative new from the quarterback position is eventually doomed to fail. And hopefully Russell Wilson will help erode some of that. But Kaepernick has done damage to that narrative.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of guys have.
And one thing we're spinning forward to our next topic, and I'll be interested to hear what you say about this, Jay. But Frank and I were also talking. So we have two guys, Colin Kaepernick and RG3, who were on Sports Illustrated covers, and I think you actually posted them on Twitter, Jay, yesterday morning. And they were kind of expected to be the next faces of the league. These are the guys who are going to have the commercials. These are the guys who are going to have their names in lights for the next 10 years. Well, that looks in jeopardy for both of those guys, right?
Without a doubt, yeah.
Also, now we're coming off. We're seeing Peyton Manning's twilight, Eli Manning's twilight, and you laugh at Eli Manning, but Eli Manning is, a pitch man, right? Like NFL has
sure
has put up a lot on him, and then you have Tom Brady. He's kind of fading, and not fading, but his time is short. Let's just put it that way. where is the NFL going to go? I mean, are they ever going to have three guys like that again where they can hang their hats? And I mean, think about how much they've centered around those three guys in the past 10 to 15 years. It's really amazing.
Well, Manning has that. Peyton has that strange combination of both. He's talented on the field, and he's obviously comfortable behind the camera. I mean, Eli never quite seems comfortable in either place, even though he's won well. He's still. I mean, the guy's going to be 57 years old. He's still going to look like the goofy younger brother. It's just the way that he is.
But it's crazy though, because if you were to sit here and write a fictional novel about a sporting league in some country in some point in the future, you really couldn't come up with like archetypes better than those three.
Exactly.
Peyton Manning, the personal, affable guy, the kind of young and bumbling little brother, but who's still very good. Then you've got the pretty boy who's married to the supermodel. I don't think that will ever happen again. Yeah, Russell Wilson may be a great face for the league, and I'm sure someone else will step up. I guess you'd say Andrew Luck. I mean, he's obviously going to have a lot of success, but I don't really see him being the personality. Now that could always change once there's an empty stage.
Here's my question, and I'll throw this out to both of you. Do you think that Peyton and Brady benefited from coming of age and becoming fully formed before social media had a chance to tear them down? We didn't, because if you look back in the early 2000s, Twitter, Facebook, all this instant analysis wasn't there, whereas now we've already gone through 7 or 8 stories on Russell Wilson.
And also, like we've talked about RG3 and Colin Kaepernick, where the RG3 thing is really, really interesting because it happens so fast. And I think that's the Twitter, kind of age we're in now. That's the effect of it, where I mean, it was 24 months ago when he was on top of the world. And 24 months in the life even of an NFL player is not that much. It's a blip on the radar. And 24 months ago, RG3 was literally, at that moment in time, in December of 2012, was there a bigger star in the NFL than RG3? I mean, I guess probably Peyton Manning, Brady, but really, he was the guy. He was, and now he's done. I mean, he's damn
good thing he signed a long-term Subway contract.
I think you give too much credit to social media because no matter how many tweets are out there, it's not directly affecting what he's doing on the field.
It's a good point. It's a good point. It's just I do wonder. I mean, with Brady, I mean, his first few years wasn't a great starting quarterback. He was very good. Obviously, won the Super Bowl with a great team around him and had a great Super Bowl performance against the Rams. But he wasn't the Tom Brady we know. I mean, he wasn't.
It took him a while to break out from that. Hey, he's just a product of the system. No one ever says that against it. But for a while, people were saying, okay, well, he's going to be maybe Joe Montana still has to fight that perception. I don't think Tom Brady does fight that perception. I think he's broken free of it. And right back on that social media quick thing, as much as it can detract and hurt you in terms of your public perception, social media had a lot in building RG3 up, right? So if you're playing well, social media just goes the other way too. So I don't think it plays that big of a role
that's not a bad
what
point.
They do.
Well, would we be having this same conversation about RG3 if he was on any other team in the league? If he'd had the same kind of ascent
no question.
And descent?
No question.
You think so?
I
mean, assuming obviously that he had
the so special. It's not like if we were having if he was on the Dallas Cowboys or either the New York teams, maybe if he was playing in Nashville, sure.
It's more how they handled it, how the team handled it, and maybe it's obviously hypothetically another team wouldn't have him in the playoffs when he's got an injured knee and that kind of thing. But it's how the team handled it that brought him to some extent down. But obviously it's some of the problems are of his own making, but some of it's the Redskins as well.
I think this is getting back to Kevin's bigger point. I think this has been kind of a bad year in the NFL as far as who are the next stars. And I mean, it's been a bad year with Adrian Peterson, Ray Rice, that kind of stuff. But also, I mean, you look at who we thought were the young, great quarterbacks. I mean, Kaepernick has had a bad year. Cam Newton hasn't had a good year. RG3 is benched, and who knows where he's going now. I think that we've even guys like Andy Dalton have really regressed. And you look and you say, okay, who are every quarterback we talk about is 30 years or older, really. Rodgers, Brady, both Mannings, Breeze, Roethlisberger, all these guys are 30 or older. Who are the young quarterbacks who the league is building around right now? Because it's a quarterback league. It's just the way it is. People are just love talking about quarterbacks. That's always going to be the way it is. Except for Luck, Wilson probably, but I don't think Wilson's had a great year. But let's put Wilson in that category. Who else is there? I mean, Ryan Tannehill? But yeah, Cam Newton hasn't had a good year. I mean, I love Cam Newton, but he hasn't had a good year either. Who are the other guys? Like I said, it's not Ryan Tannehill. It's not Romo's older, and now we got. I hate to bring up his name, but next draft, the main quarterback going to be drafted is Jameis Winston. They're not building anything around him. Like maybe Marcus Mariota is going to be a star.
Is there a problem with Jameis Winston? I don't understand.
Yeah,
it's undefeated.
It hasn't been in the news
seasons.
at all, but. Who are the quarterbacks?
He's made to be a Red Lobster pitchman. I mean, you know that he's going to be all right.
Who are right? I mean, another guy, Philip Rivers, over 30. Who are the young quarterbacks who the league is kind of? I mean, Geno has failed, and we just have so many on and on and on. All these
Jay Cutler.
Yeah, Blake Bortles hasn't done well. Manziel hasn't even played. You
haven't said Aaron Rodgers' name.
He's 30.
He's 31, isn't he?
31.
You don't think he's not another 6 or 7 or 8 years? He
maybe
says he wants to play to 40.
Okay, yeah, maybe he's one, but
it's a lot of time for the league to turn over.
It is a lot of time for the league to get new blood, but at the same time, I'm saying he is 30 years old, 31. I mean, he's not a 24-year-old guy they're building around. I mean, that's the dearth of young quarterback talent.
The NFL will always find someone. We see them pushing.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Right. The thing is, it's not going to be as easy because, like we said, Peyton and Eli and Tom Brady, it was just easy, slam dunk, put them in a commercial, glitz, glamour, affability, friendliness. It was all there. They don't have that anymore.
Hey, man, let me throw this right in there. Do you think it's because they're white?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
This day and age, to be honest.
No, I mean, Colin Kaepernick.
The top athlete in the world is LeBron James. I mean, I don't think that there's any doubt about that. I mean, marketing-wise and everything else. I think so. Wait, right? I mean, he's the guy. I think he's probably more popular than Peyton right now, I think, overall, worldwide.
What commercial did you see more than Colin Kaepernick's Beats by Dre commercial last winter?
Was the J.J. Watt one out when he was in the dance?
No, it was not.
Yeah.
That one has gone away, by the way, the J.J. Watt and the school dance.
Right.
Before, but man, have they amped up that NFL shop in the Minnesota Vikings
the family? Yeah, that's the worst.
And someone pointed this out the other day, which I didn't notice. At the end, the woman is ordering a Vikings Emmitt Smith jersey. Did you notice that?
Oh, no. It's Harrison Smith, their safety, 22.
Oh, he is 22?
Yeah, it's actually you could get confused based on that stupid.
I think she's ordering
it. Could be she is because she's a turncoat and we've talked about her already, and she's a Jezebel. But that's another here nor there. But maybe that's what the NFL's plan. They're just going to build her on the family that has no loyalty to its team whatsoever. That's their long-term marketing plan.
Let's the Roethlisberger. They also changed the Roethlisberger's line. They changed the guy. He was like, he became a Steelers fan because he was eating Roethlisbergers, but then now they said building a life for himself in Pittsburgh. So I don't know what they had against Ben Roethlisberger.
Somebody got angry, or Ben Roethlisberger's people didn't get their cut, I guess.
They probably got it trademarked. They probably got the name Roethlisberger's trademarked.
Really, I am interested to know what you guys think of J.J. Watt as kind of the face of the league, though. Because me and Kevin were talking about this, and I don't think a defensive end is ever going to be the face of the league. It's just not the way the league works. It's not the way the popularity of the league works. He's a great story. I think a lot of people know him now. A lot of people like him. He comes off very, very well in a lot of different ways, but I don't think a defensive end is ever going to be the face of the league.
Who's the last big defensive lineman to achieve the level of fame that he has right now?
That's Reggie? Good. Is it Reggie?
Probably.
Joe Green? I mean, do we got to go back that far? I mean, LT's a famous guy, but not, not the same way we're talking.
Now, if you want to bring up a race factor, I think that has a lot to do with linemen because there's been a lot of great defensive linemen that haven't got the same, So you want to bring that up? I will definitely say that's a factor. With quarterback, I don't think so, but linemen, I think J.J. Watt has a lot to do with his personality and the fact that he is white.
I wonder about Richard Sherman too because he's kind of he's that wrestling heel, and that's going to be the most popular wrestling heel. People love to complain about Richard Sherman, and he is a face of the league, no question about it, just in a different way than we're talking about. Mm-hmm. But you're right. I mean, let's be honest. So I think we've talked about this a little bit. The NFL just hasn't had a good year. I don't think the product on the field's been that good. I don't think the product off the field has been terrible, obviously. But, I mean, the popularity keeps rolling on, and we might be in for a great playoffs and a great stretch run. But we haven't seen a lot of good football this year, and we've seen a lot of the young stars really take a step back. And I wonder, overall, 2014 has not been a good year for the NFL, I don't think.
It's been a great year for the Shutdown Corner podcast. I think we're doing more listens than Serial right now.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, we need to have an ongoing storyline that we keep going through. It would be who killed the NFC South.
You know what? I've done just to go off on a tangent here. I've done a total 180 on the NFC South, where for a few weeks I was really into the whole chaos part of it, and it was kind of fun and blah blah blah. But now reality's seeping in that they're going to ruin one of my 11 playoff games. Yeah, I mean, just by the Falcons just showing up and sucking for one of those 11 games, it's making me mad. Like, the NFC South is it's such an embarrassment to the NFL. And people, these are rules. Can't you just live by the rule? Well, the rules stink. The rules shouldn't be that a 6-10 team hosts a playoff game.
Have you been hating the Falcons lately? Because at least they've been competitive. They've been losing, but they've been competitive.
They were competitive in the second half yesterday. They were interesting. That game was somewhat good, I guess, but the first half stunk. Look at the Saints. Look at what the Saints did.
The Saints are the Saints are the team that their fans have the most reason to be just infuriated, just because they just have rolled over. I mean, that's worse than the 49ers.
Yeah. And now we have the Saints versus the Bears, and I said on Twitter they should just postpone that game on Monday night and everyone just have a good cry together. Have Bears and Saints fans coming together in tears.
You know what I don't want to have happen, guys? I do not want the 6-10 Saints or Falcons, whoever, to get in and they play the 10-6 Cardinals. And they win. And then every time you bring up how stupid it is, everybody brings up, but they won a playoff game. That was awesome.
Here's a related gripe that I heard a couple times on Sunday, and I was driving home from taping NFL 90. I was listening to some, Joe Blow sports show, and the guy was saying, 8 teams in the college playoff. Well, what happens when you have the NFC South? It's like, it happens like how many times a year?
It's pretty rare.
Yeah, like how many times? Like, when's the last time this happened? Like 8 years ago?
Was he suggesting that TCU or Baylor should get the NFC South playoff spot? Because I can back that.
Bryce Petty.
But you know what I mean? It's just like, that is just not a good argument against having 8 teams in college football.
Yeah, by the way, I know that we have other people who do college football podcasts, but my quick thing on this is, I heard this sums up how stupid college football system is. Kirk Herbstreit was saying, but if you expanded it to 8 teams, you wouldn't have this chaos and this intrigue we have with teams getting left out. Yeah, I love chaos and intrigue. That's why I love that more. I love that more.
The teams on the field, man. That's a lot better than chaos and intrigue.
You take that one backwards. You just don't even have a season at all. You just vote by polls.
Yeah, and I just don't understand this. It devalues the rest of the season. Not if you win your league and you get in. I mean, let's say that it had a Big Ten championship, which we shouldn't speak of very much, but let's say that the Badgers actually had a chance in that game. And let's say that a trip to the college football playoff would have been on the line. How much would you have been into that game, and how crushed would you have been when the Badgers got killed?
I am a big proponent of going back to the 1974 NCAA basketball tournament rules where your conference champion gets in. And that's it.
Yeah.
There's no
how excited would Missouri fans have been? I mean,
exactly. It would have been, and you talk about valuing your regular season like that. You are making every game count. If we have basically 8 slots and all of them go to conference champions and no at-larges at all, you are making the conference championships so valuable and so awesome. And if you know what, I've been a proponent. If you finish second in your league, you have no argument. I mean, you finish second in your league. Hey, you win more games. So I am I think it was the NC State Maryland in 74 when David Thompson was there. They played a triple overtime game in the ACC tournament because only one of these teams could make the NCAA tournament because there's only one spot for the ACC. How incredible would that have been? You're right. All these conference championship games, the ratings would be through the roof. And but
even going back to old college football when with the Rose Bowl when it would be one Big Ten team, right? That was Michigan, Ohio State just alternate every year, which probably wasn't all that much fun, but I don't know. So, hey, let's move on to the lightning round because, we do have college football podcast. Dan Wetzel does one. The Dr. Saturday crew does another, so check them out. if and when you do get a chance, because I'm sure they'll have a lot of great content this December for all those bowl games coming up. Check out Graham Watson and Nick Bromberg's ranking of the bowls, too. That was
really cool. That was really cool. Yeah.
So, all right,
like
3 minutes.
Games, by the way, before we start this, do you like the bowl games? Like,
you're derailing him again.
Like, I mean, how many of the bowl games do you actually watch? I love all the bowl games. It's strange. I complain about college football a lot, but I will watch the New Mexico Bowl. You know, I mean, I just do. I don't know why.
You're part of the problem then, Frank.
Do any of you guys like the bowl games?
We have a huge family betting pool, one of those, where you power rank them. So yeah, that gives it a little more interest.
I like the ones that I've heard of before, but I'm not tuning in on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day to watch the Honolulu Bowl or whatever. Yeah.
There are some bowl games. I looked at the bowl games this year. There are some that are just like, what? There's like a Bahamas Bowl, and there's like a Miami Beach Bowl. It's going to happen at Marlins Park. And, okay, man, sure, I'll watch.
Yeah, I'll watch the Badgers. I'll watch the ones involving the Big Ten teams, but and then the playoff games. Good luck finding a team to root for among those four. Jeez.
Yeah. I actually love Oregon. I don't know why. I just have
really.
I like the way they play.
All the Nike money.
That's fine. I don't care. It is what it is. That's just, everybody's got its advantages. And how could you root for any of the other three?
Yeah, I've got family connections at Florida State, and so I have to kind of hold my nose and hope that for family harmony that they do well.
It's bad.
Darth Vader versus Skeletor versus. Yeah.
I don't know how you can hate all. Oregon's never won anything. I think once Oregon wins, I'll just go off the tipping point and hate them too. But now they haven't won anything.
They're the least evil, but
they're the least evil. And Florida State's the most evil, right? I mean, we all hate Florida State the most out of those four. Or do we hate Alabama?
Florida State is the most evil. Because of the crap-eating grin that Jimbo Fisher has after every single win.
And I think their quarterback has a little bit to do with it too. Yeah.
Alabama. I
think anybody really enjoys that guy.
Alabama is up there.
Yeah, Saban's so tough to root for. It's just he's such a cyborg. I mean, he's just he's great.
I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for Ohio State, just because I like the Big Ten history and all that. But Urban Meyer's ruined all that. So.
Yeah, Urban Meyer just blows that out of the water. Yeah, you can't root for them. Can't. I would.
All right, let's move on to the lightning round. 3 minutes for Frank to answer all the questions on his. Trying to delay it as much as possible. He must not be ready, but we're going to put him on the spot anyway. Jay, you're on the clock starting now.
Our NFC South murder mystery. Who will survive?
I still got to go with the Saints. I don't know why. I have no idea why, but I don't know. I guess just at the end of the day, I look at their games and I see Drew Brees and I think, oh, well, they're not that bad. I don't know, though. Who cares? That division stinks.
Should Jay Cutler be benched the last 3 games of the season?
What for? Jimmy Clausen's not very good. I mean, what good does it do you? I don't see there being any purpose in benching Jay Cutler at this point. It's just something you would do just to do it.
San Diego took that hard loss on Sunday night. Do you think that was damaging a mortal wound to their playoff hopes?
Nah, I mean, losing to the Patriots is going to happen, but now they got the Broncos coming in. They got a tough schedule. They probably needed to win one of those two, either the Broncos or the Patriots. So they better get on it and win this week, because all of a sudden once you go back into the pool of the AFC teams that are in that 7-8 win range, you're in a little bit of trouble.
Which coach deserves to be fired the most? Performance only.
Boy, that's probably Lovie Smith. Performance only, based on nothing else. He's had the worst year, I think. Maybe Mike Smith, though. I mean, he's up there, too. But if you're giving me one coach who's had absolutely positively the worst year, yeah, give me Lovie Smith. He's been a total zero all year.
How worried should Eagles fans be after that whipping that they took?
The Eagles are just that team. I had higher hopes for them, and a lot of people brought that up this weekend. But I think the Eagles are just that team that is just short of being elite. You could, when they play the Seahawks, when they play the Packers, you could just tell they're not on that level. But when they play everybody else, I mean, they've won at Indy, they've won at Dallas. I mean, they're not a bad team by any means. So I think that they get it right. They beat the Dallas this week. They win the NFC East, and they probably go up. They probably advance in the playoffs until they play one of the elite teams in the NFC, and they lose.
What job is Rex Ryan holding in 2015?
Oh, that's such a good question. He's definitely in the league because he's such a smart X's and O's guy. He probably takes a year as somebody's defensive coordinator. Maybe I don't think wouldn't it be fun if he was New Orleans defensive coordinator next year? You know, just replace one Ryan with the other. That's what I want. I want him to be New Orleans defensive coordinator next year.
Yeah, he could just put on a wig, just show up there.
Yeah, just with the long-haired wig. I like it.
Which team do you like the future of for 3 years from now better? St. Louis, Houston, or Cincinnati?
Probably St. Louis, but all three of those teams have a common thread of they don't have a quarterback. Where are you going to get one? I don't really see anybody out there you're going to get. I think that, the Rams, though, the roster's really good. Like, when they play well, when they decide to play well, they're really, really good. That RG3 trade was so big for them. They added 5 starters. I mean, that's a really good football team. They just need to find a
Is that our timer?
That is 3 minutes.
Either that or Kevin was baking brownies and they're done.
Honey?
Sure.
I've got the make and bake oven right on my desk here.
Sweet.
What is that called? The little kid oven.
Oh
yeah,
the Easy Bake.
Easy bake. Yeah. That's I need one of those. I'm gonna expense that, Kevin. I'm just telling you.
Feel free to. Probably get one on Amazon for a good price right now.
I think that they're like obsolete now because the light bulbs in there are not made anymore. Well, I mean, we just bought one for our daughter 5 years ago, and we found out about this that literally they don't make them anymore. I guess this is what I heard a couple years ago. I don't keep up with the Easy Bake Oven market, but I heard this that the light bulbs are obsolete now, so Easy Bake Ovens are going out.
So the food that was produced out of here, did you guys have to eat it? How did that go?
That's good. It's legitimate food. It's not like it's like rubber or Play-Doh.
Wait a minute, Frank. You eat at Buffalo Wild Wings every Sunday. Your opinion isn't valid. Busbee.
The cookies instead of cakes, I guess, that come out of the Easy Bake, they're fine. I'll eat one right now if I had one. There's nothing wrong with it.
You know what's going to happen is I'm going to sign off and get an email saying that Buffalo Wild Wings wants to sponsor our podcast, and the CEO is just going to listen to our last podcast, and then we're going to be screwed.
Yeah, I enjoy Buffalo Wild Wings, and if you want to pay me directly for sponsorship, I'll give you my address. I'm fine with that.
They could pay you just directly in wings and mozzarella sticks.
You know what here's what I like about Buffalo Wild Wings, I'll tell you this, is that every sports bar you go to, there's only one priority, and it's not the food, it's not the waitresses wearing whatever outfits, it's can you operate your televisions. I don't need to be telling the guy who's there on a Sunday morning what NFL Sunday Ticket is. I need you to know this in advance and have the television set up with the games. I don't need to be saying hey, I don't want to go in on a Wednesday night and say, hey, can I watch the Bucks Wizards game? And he's like, what? Is it on ESPN? If it's not on ESPN, I don't know. No, your sports bar, your number one priority. Get the televisions right. Anything else is gravy after that.
So we have at our Buffalo Wild Wings, we have the owner or the manager must have dealt with one too many jackasses asking for the Bucks game, because every TV has a little handwritten sign underneath it. This game will be showing Philadelphia, Dallas, and no other underlined. So he's just made his mind up, and you're not going to change him.
I do. Yeah, there is nothing worse than walking into any bar in Chicago and whoever's there, they go get the remote and they fumble and they say, how does this thing work? So I do agree with you there, but let's just say the quality of the food at Buffalo Wild Wings is either my taste buds have gotten better since I was 23 and eating 30 wings at a clip for 10 cents a piece, or their food has gotten worse. I don't know.
You're a snob, man. So you're ordering $29.
When you go in there, it's like a free-for-all. There's all these families, and it's just
napkins everywhere.
And it's not cheap.
Sauce.
It's are you really schlepping out and spending $200 for your kids to eat chicken wings?
I don't think anybody's spending $200.
Dude,
unless you got 9 kids.
Every time I go in there, there's at least 3 parties, at least 10 kids and 4 adults. And I think a lot of it's just hey man, let's have these TVs babysit our kids. We don't have to listen to them for the next 2.5 hours.
Let's have this conversation in about 7 years, Kevin, and we'll see where you are, because you'll be like, oh, I love Buffalo Wild Wings. It's the most wonderful place on earth.
It's much cheaper than going to an American Grill store.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you got that to look forward
Don't
to.
get me started. Do not get me started on that one. Oh boy.
Yeah, so the Yahoo office is in Chicago, is in the John Hancock Tower, which is by the American Girl store, and I made the mistake of going over there to get something to eat before taping, and I was just swept away, like it's like all these little girls just carrying me and just like moving me out of the way as they went into the American Girl store.
You went into
Like,
the
I'm
American
getting a
Girl store to get
backpack
some-
for my doll.
Then I come out of there, and there's Johnny in the loaded out Lincoln Navigator Escalade or something, and he's got like 20 bags from the American Girl store. It's like, I hope he was like going to donate it to kids or something, because it was probably like 10 grand worth of stuff or something.
Everything in American Girl store is at least $25. It's unbelievable. It's bad news, man. It's not a place you want to be hanging, especially this time of year. Oh boy, it's scary. It's
I'm gonna pack a lunch next Sunday.
So next week's podcast will not be sponsored by American Girl
no
Or Buffalo Wild
or by
Wings.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
or Jay Cutler.
Nor the NFL shop.
We're just knocking those sponsors off one by one.
All right. Well, join us on Friday when we put someone else in our crosshairs and cross them off a potential sugar daddy role here on the Shutdown Corner Podcast. But anyhow, all right. We will see you on Friday for Week 15 previews, including that Cowboys and Eagles game. Seahawks, 49ers. Anything else good?
There's a couple, but those are the main ones. That Eagles Cowboys one's really good.
Yeah. All right. Shutdown Corner Podcast. Kevin Kaduk, Frank Schwab, Jay Busbee. We thank you for your time, and we will see you soon.